Hi guys, good evening and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I'll be discussing what I thought of the latest and oh so very good fifth and sadly final season You. No, not you. You. No, not you. Yeah, okay, I'll stop. I'm sure that wasn't funny the first 3 times I did it. Sadly, the fifth and final season of You has premiered. It dropped a few days ago. I have been watching it over the course of the past several days because I've had a very full weekend. I was unable to binge it all at once like I would have liked to, which is why you're getting this review a little later than usual. But I have finished the fifth and final season. I wanted to share my thoughts and feelings with you guys about it. So here we go. In short, I found it gripping. Absolutely gripping. Each episode left me wanting more. And that plot twist halfway through the season, holy shit. Now, before I go on and on about it, please be warned, of course, this is a spoiler-filled review. So if you're not caught up on You, the fifth and final season, you don't want to keep watching or listening as I will be discussing spoilers. That being said, you have been warned. Let's dive right back into it. First and foremost, I found it absolutely gripping. A gripping storyline, and it just made sense the more it went along, as the show went along, as this season went along, and it went by episode. It just flat out made sense. How the net was increasingly closing in on Joe, how his world was falling apart, how his life was falling apart, and that his rampage, for a lack of a better term, had finally come to an end. You know, a part of me thought, well, there's two possibilities. Either he lives and is captured and imprisoned for the rest of his life, or he's killed, kind of fittingly, by a woman and dies anonymously, and the truth is never brought to life, not to light, and the rest of the world never knows what a monster he was. That's not the ending we got. The ending we got is that he was wounded, yes. I'm pretty sure she shot his dick off. Ouch. Ow, ow, ow. And he was tried, convicted for all the murders that he could be proven for, at least, and will spend the rest of his life behind bars. But in the final shot, we see that he still remains as delusional as ever, deflecting responsibility for his crimes and the way he is by saying, the problem isn't me, the problem is you, while looking right into the camera. Thought that was a clever way to end it. And I'm very satisfied that all the survivors got relatively happy endings and fresh starts. At the end of every season, it was always him getting the fresh start and somebody else getting screwed over for a murder or a crime he committed, being framed for or fingered for. And now in the fifth and final season, he's the one who is caught and convicted and fingered for all these crimes, and all his surviving victims, people he was using and manipulating and setting up, basically, all got cleared and exonerated and then led happy, productive lives free of Joe, despite of their encounters with him. So like I said, I really enjoyed how the season moved along. It was absolutely gripping, and I loved how things began to gradually, slowly but surely close in. The net closed in on him more and more as each episode went along, and it just felt right. It made sense that this is what would happen to him, because we've seen it happen before in real life with real life serial killers. They make one too many mistakes, or they get sloppy at the end of their killing sprees, and then that's when everything comes to light. That's when they're caught, that's when they're captured, that's when sometimes they confess, and that is when the world sees them for what they truly are, and that is ultimately what happened to Joe Goldberg. And I'm pretty satisfied and happy with how it ended. A part of me wanted him to escape and get away and never be held accountable for his crimes because he's just so damn likable. But on the other hand, another part of me saw how increasingly delusional dangerous and disassociated he was, that he had to answer for his crimes, that he had caused so much harm and bloodshed and misery to so many people. He had to be held accountable. So I don't know why the series finale has such a low rating on the internet. I thought it was a solid, fitting way to end the show, to end Joe's journey, and to close a chapter on him and all the surviving characters. So, well done, you season 5. And oh my God, speaking of well done, everybody did a marvelous job playing their respective roles. But I especially got to give a shout out to the talented, the lovely Anna Camp. Oh my God, what a magnificent job she did pulling off those dual roles, twin sisters, two completely polar opposites from one another, convincing as both, even when one is pretending to be the other. Oh my God, she was phenomenal. And I'm so glad that Reagan died. She was such an evil, unlikable bitch. But I'm also glad Maddie got her happy ending as well, despite killing her sister. I say she deserved her ending. And her sister kind of deserved to die because she was so awful. Again, fantastic performance by Anna Camp, but God damn it, I hated that character so much. I was like, please let Joe kill her. Now, Maddie ended up being the one killing her. And I liked how the biggest twist in this season wasn't that Joe kidnapped the wrong twin. That was a good twist. I thought the bigger, better twist was how Bronte was originally setting him up in the beginning, up until that point, until she started to fall under his spell, fall in love with him, and then thankfully Marianne snapped her back to reality, and then she dedicated the rest of her time to bringing him down, and she did exactly that. So I was rooting for her in the final episode. I was like, yes, she's back on board. She's cleared her head. She's been free of Joe's spell. So now she's on team down with Joe, so I really liked that. That was a fantastic twist. Her and the other previous victims connecting with each other and forming their true crime investigative group and setting Joe up and whatnot. That was a fantastic twist. I really enjoyed that. The one thing that was a bit of a bummer about this season is that I wanted to see more of formula of season 1 Joe killings. What I mean by that is season 1 is just so fantastic, where Joe did a majority of the killing that season. And as weird and as fucked up as may sound, that was probably one of the better, if not my favorite season of the show, was season 1. And I really enjoyed it because we were following him creatively killing problematic people, whether they deserved it or not. And we got that in the first episode with the killing of poor old Uncle Bob. And then the rest of the deaths throughout this season were at the hands of some other characters, and then other times Joe. But their deaths weren't quite like the season 1 deaths, where it was primarily one guy killing one problematic person at a time. But oh well, I can just go back and rewatch season 1 if I want to see it so bad. But I also realized that season 5 could not have told the epic, gripping story that it did tell if it didn't change up the formula. And if they had to do that to make the story that good, then I understand. I get it. Oh, another thing I loved about this season is they brought back Paco. He's kind of grown up a bit, but I love he was one of the few people defending Joe, because he's like, yeah, he helped me and my mom in a bad situation, even though Joe's narration is like, no, Paco, shut up. But that was great. I like seeing him and other returning characters from previous seasons make brief appearances as well. I enjoyed that. Overall, I found the entire 5th and final season very satisfying, a big improvement from season 4, which I also loved. Seasons 2 and 3 were okay. They had their moments, but seasons 1, 4, and 5 are probably my personal favorites in that order. And overall, that's how I feel about the series as a whole. So seasons 1, 4, and 5 are the best. 2 and 3, they're okay. They have their moments. But I enjoyed those 3 seasons the most. So I hope you guys enjoyed season 5 as much as I did. What did you think of it all? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings on it. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope you enjoyed over the years as it became the show that it became and ended the way it did. So have a wonderful rest of your night, everyone. Thanks for watching. And of course, until next time, may the force be with you.